See here. I just turned the volume. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Uh, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whoever and wherever you are. This is Coach Lee, and we're working on speech anxiety. We're talking to Bob. Say hello, Bob.
Hello.
And this is a short session. All we're doing is drilling on basically on linking. Uh, Bob's problem is that, which is not uncommon, that under pressure, he has trouble linking. That is to say, he breaks his links. Maybe it's only for a tenth of a second or something, but he breaks, and he can't even tell he's breaking them half the time. But the only way he can tell he's breaking them is he's got a block. You,
Right.
if you've got a block, you broke. That's it.
Right.
There's no way to block if you are linking. So linking, as we've explained, is like I analogize it to singing. When I'm worried, sing that.
When I'm worried.
And I can't sleep.
And I can't sleep.
Okay, now we do it without the melody. When I'm worried
When I'm worried.
and I can't sleep,
And I can't sleep.
I'm not sure I can't tell if there's a tiny link in there or not. A break. Um, you should overdo this. You should push more air than you would normally do. It's like when you're singing, you need the air to hold the tone. You would be doing it. If you push any less air, you're at risk for the moment of having a problem. I mean, once it's a habit, once the habit, somehow the habit, you said, well, the habit doesn't have a brain. I guess not, but what happens is as soon as you know that you will not appear speech disabled, the habit gives up for whatever reason. Your brain just stops pushing it out there.
Yeah.
And so are you experiencing already? I mean, I should have said at the beginning that Bob is at some kind of a convention or something at the moment, and he's talking to different people, and he needs to not be stuttering when he's talking to these people, and he was stuttering. Meanwhile, he doesn't stutter in lots of other situations, but he does stutter at this convention when talking to strangers. So that's
Yeah.
what we're working on. So,
But I will say it's already improved a lot. Just even in the last 1 or 2 days. I do feel that it's getting easier to make these links. I still do have several moments where I can feel the block that's coming up, and I'm trying to link, and it's working more often than I was able to get it last time.
now look, you can combine crutches with speech plans. That is to say, if you feel a block coming on a word, you can use a crutch like drop the first letter and say the word anyway, or use a synonym similar word or phrase, crutch number 2, or spell the word or skip it, crutch number 3, or tell a story about the word, crutch 5, or rephrase the thing, crutch 6, or you can go to crutch, the easier ones, go to crutch 4, and you can simply say another word. It doesn't matter what the word is. Any other word and it doesn't even have to make sense. And if another one is we combine crutch 7 with it, whispering, because if you whisper one word, if you whisper one word, it's, you know, it's, you can say it in 9 cases out of 10, you can say it, And so that's another solution to the problem. But the first word, if you say any other word or make a sound, you will avoid the block on that first word. Or you can, but if you say any other word, like and so, well, or any other word that comes to mind and link it, when you say any other word, you're back into linking.
Right, right.
So the block.
So when I'm linking, you were just now saying that I should actually use even more air than I usually would.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta do it. If you're still having a problem, the closer you can get to singing it, what I wanted to say was, I mean, I went up high, used crutch 8, came out of my voice register, and I held the tone, and I put a little melody with it, or put a little vibrato with it. What I wanted to say was, I laugh at myself. Don't take yourself so seriously.
Right.
Nobody else does, and nobody else really cares. And nobody else notices, and they don't remember your mistakes anyway. Even if you wiped out, they won't remember it a day or two later. They won't even remember it.
Right, right.
I mean, the problem is only with you. It's nowhere else.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely easier also when not only do I link, but I actually act more expressive. I change my pitch.
There you go.
It sings songy like speech, but it actually sounds quite good and expressive.
Of course it does. It makes your speech more interesting. They'll find you more interesting to talk to because you're not dead. You're not a mannequin. You get some life in you, for gosh sakes.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. But I do want to make sure that I'm truly linking. So that's
You've
what
got to. Every block tells you didn't do it.
Yeah.
You broke your link.
Right. Yeah. So I think that maybe the next step of my focus needs to be on making sure I'm really using that air. I'm just really pushing past all of those blocks and keeping my humming.
And it's a question of, how over the top do you need to be to avoid the block? Right. I can do it up here like that. I can do it down here like that. I mean, just going out of my voice register and linking, I'm combining changing a voice register with short link and stop.
Yeah.
But always, the more pressure you're under, the shorter the increment of speech, the longer the stop, the tighter the link.
Right. Right. And I will say this, it's also something that seems to take at least a few days or weeks before it feels easier to do.
Of course. You're trying to create a new habit.
Right, right.
We changed the way you hold the golf club or the tennis racket. It's different. We changed your service motion. It takes time.
Right, exactly.
It took a long time to teach yourself to stutter. That took a lot of practice.
Yeah. So do you think if every PWS that you worked with focused on linking that they could stop stuttering as early as today, or do you think it would still have?
I put no limits on it. Stuttering, there is nothing to stuttering. It's a problem that doesn't exist. It's a fiction. It's like thinking we have a headache so massively that we get one.
Yeah. Yeah. In the medical world, we call it a psychosomatic disorder.
There you go. Precisely.
Psychosomatic.
And in my opinion, in your lifetime, if you live to be my age or anything close to it, you're going to see changes in medicine. Well, you know that, but we're going to see changes where they realize that the mind is really the solution to most problems, not pills.
Yeah.
They're going to realize that, and they're going to find ways to use self-hypnosis and auto-suggestion, self-talk, the very things you're doing in this program. They're going to find ways to do that, and somebody like you is going to lead the way.
Yeah. No, I really agree with that. I think just even I've been on this program for less than a month, and my fluency has already increased by at least 20 or 30% in high pressure situations. So and it's on the first day it was hard to focus on linking, but it's become so much easier now. And now I know that it's going to work. So I'm also fearing the words less and less.
That's it. It's a snowball working in your favor. It's getting bigger by the day. The more heat you put on it, the more you focus on this stuff, the easier it gets to be to win each little battle.
Right, right.
We talked about, I think I talked about two programs. One was the pressure speech plan, which short link stop. And then the other I called a general speech plan. Now, I was working on this with somebody else, but I said, look, if you know you're going into a situation that's high pressure for you, you go in. Well, you can go in doing this. You can do that, but also you may not need this if you get really good at this.
Yeah.
Talking less. Only say what you need to say. I didn't say don't talk. I just said don't say things that are unnecessary. And then secondly, talk in a soft.
Yeah.
Talk in a soft voice now. Show me.
Yes, I can talk in a soft voice.
It's not very soft. You still got some guttural. Let's go to a whisper. I say, I can whisper.
I can whisper.
When I whisper, I never stutter.
When I whisper, I never stutter.
Bob, I have given speeches to thousands of people where I whispered frequently throughout my entire talk. And I leaned right into the mic to do it. The most important thing that I have to say to you today is this. And make them wait. The minute you start whispering, people go, oh, they try harder to hear what you're saying.
Right, right.
Believe me, you can whisper some of these conversations. And if anybody ever says, why are you whispering? Just say, I have a bit of a sore throat.
Right.
Or I'm working on my speech, or I'm trying a new style.
Yeah.
I'm making a game out of my speech.
Right.
People don't care. If they can understand you, that's all they care about, man.
Right, right. So as I've been speaking now, do you feel I'm doing a good job with linking, or can I be doing more as well?
I think it's difficult for me to tell how you're doing when you're with the pressure situation.
Yeah.
You know the answer to the question. If you're having blocks, you're not doing it good enough yet.
Right, right.
You can get around the blocks, several ways to get around the blocks, but as long as you're having blocks, you're not linking enough.
Yeah.
I'm trying. I know you are, but you're not trying enough. You got to put yourself more into it, like you're a singer on the stage.
Yeah.
I have another guy. His stage name is Noah Sam, so I can use that. And
Yeah.
he's a singer. I don't know if you've noticed. Have you been to Sam yet?
I've watched many of the Sam recordings, but I have not been able to make it because of my flights and travel.
Right. Well, the more you can make this stuff, the better for you. Beating stuttering is like learning a foreign language. The closer you can get to immersion, living in that country, working in that country, using the language around the clock, for everything you need. The closer you can get to that, the sooner you win. And doing this is a general speech plan, less soft motion and smile. I can't remember which person I did this for. I did it this week, but speak only saying what is needed. Number one. Number two, soft voice. Now, you don't speak in a soft voice unless you whisper right now. So you whispering is an option. And don't hesitate to try it.
Yeah.
No one is going to shoot you. No one cares. This is a problem you totally internally your problem.
Yeah.
So if you whisper, so what, man? You're here to win. You're here to zero out appearing disabled. And anything that's legal and moral, you get to do. Now, this one also says motion, which means using your hands a bit. And you'll notice a lot of people on TV use their hands all the time. It's very public speaking, in my opinion. But it's fine for conversations. And you can do it at the convention all the time. And the more you are moving around, and let your body be relaxed and do what it wants to do. Don't be sitting there rigid. Oh no, I must speak. I'm a robot and I have to do it this way. And use all these tricks that Love It knows. No, take a Valium. A lot of times, one thing will save you. It clicks and it makes it easy for you. And so using your hands, relaxing, that's what I call, motion. And it's also emotion, and smiling. A lot of times, I don't know, I'll bet you haven't smiled yet.
I mostly smile when other people are talking.
Yeah, but you need to smile when you're talking.
Right.
You got a great smile, incidentally. So, you got $1 million smile. I wish I had it. But it takes 12 muscles to smile. And when you smile, you send an endorphin type message to every one of your 30 trillion cells.
Right.
And you send a similar message to other people. You become more likable, more believable. It's an all around win for you. But it takes thought to do it.
Right.
You can't be, all of this blocks the stutter habit. Everything you think that's a solution related contributes to the blocks to stuttering. Until it's beaten it. It's you got so many things going on.
Yeah.
Possibly surface.
So what do you do in cases where I also have certain cases, far less common, but where I have an unexpected block. I wasn't actually expecting it to happen. I didn't even fear it, but it just happened.
Use crutch 1 through 8.
But I'm saying specifically where I didn't even anticipate it. It happened and I only realized after it happened.
Well, yeah, but a block can't happen unless you force a word. That's the fourth element. You got to try to force it, and it won't come out. I'm trying to say Lee, and I can't say it. Lee. I'm forcing it. The minute you start to force something, that's wrong. Stop it. Well, what are you going to do? Say another word. And look, don't think about the word you're going to say. Just say one. Your brain is way smarter than you think it is. It can solve all these problems for you.
Right.
Let it do it. So you're stuck on Lee or Bob. So what? Say something else.
Okay. You can just go back and say, my name is Bob, or hello,
Right.
Bob, or yeah.
George, my name is Bob. Lee, my name is Bob.
Yeah. And
Lee, it's Bob. Or Lee,
even
it's
better,
Bob.
and even better if you if you're in a group and you actually say someone else's name, and like, Lee, my name is Bob, right? Like I'm almost talking to you and I'm telling you that.
All of this is you're trying to train your mind not to plan words.
Right.
The minute you stop planning words, you will have no speech problem. None.
Yeah. What about if I have a word that I can't substitute, right?
Yeah, but there are a million things you can do. You could drop the first letter in many cases. You could spell it if you wanted to. You may be able to skip it. You may know a synonym, similar word or phrase. And if none of the above makes sense, you put a word in front of it and connect it. So whatever the word is. So Switzerland and London. Well, New York. It can't beat you. Only you can beat yourself. You know something that you're learning out of this? All of life is not a battle about Bob versus the world. It's Bob versus Bob. And if Bob masters Bob, guess what? Bob has a great life.
Right.
And if he doesn't master Bob, look out.
It's the man versus self archetype that the Greeks used to write stories about.
Exactly. Precisely.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is.
Yeah. 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 I think where I'm at now is generally linking now gets me most of the way there. And while I'm linking, I'll still have occasional thoughts of a word that I fear. And so then it's a matter of maybe either
You're not going to say that word while you fear it, or you're going to put something in front of it and connect it to the
right.
word. But if you plan what you're going to put in front of it, you'll block on what you plan.
So then how do you avoid that?
Always pick a word that you haven't planned. If I'm going to say well, Lee, and I'm thinking about well, I won't say well. I'll say and Lee, so Lee.
So it's almost kind of a matter of not choosing the word until the very last instant, like the instant.
It's not choosing a word, period. It's just letting your brain do the choosing. Look, it's kind of like you're running down a football field with the ball. And let's say you're dribbling the ball and you're trying to get through people. Well, you have to fake them out. If you fake it here and they go there, you go over here. If you fake here and go over here, they go over here, you go over here. You just go where they ain't. It's the same with words. You say one that you ain't planning.
Yeah.
It can't beat you. It's impossible. If you're willing to do it, but and always the sound will always hold your place if you want to hold your place. What I wanted to say was Lee is my name, or whatever it is. I can hold that. Oh, I can make it loud. I can make it soft. I can whisper. Well, blah, 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 blah. I can do it any way I want. All the options are mine. I'm in total control.
Yeah.
But I realize I'm in control. You don't.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I've also been recently experiencing some cases where I almost feel out of my body, in the sense where I almost feel as if I'm not even here anymore. I'm actually so immersed in the conversation that I'm I'm almost in between me and the other person.
When you're talking to me right now, you're not planning words. That's what fluency is. Well, he said, well, that's the problem, but that's how simple it is too. You
Right.
don't need any of this stuff when you do what you're doing right now.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's almost like it's worth having people actually practice not planning words. It seems like that's
Exactly.
something worth practicing as well. It's basically crutch 13, right? Like if you can just practice not even planning the word.
That's it. That's the ultimate. No crutch at all is the ultimate crutch. No crutch at all. I have no crutch. I don't need a crutch. Oh, what do I think when I'm going to talk in front of a group? I love to do it. I'm going to be extra slow. I'm going to have longer stops. I'm going to be more passionate about what I say. I'm going to smile more. Stops. My greatest weapon is stops. Stops are so great. And of course, you say, well, I lose. The listener starts talking. So what? I don't care. When they stop, I'll get the floor back. And when I do, I'll use it better than they do.
Yeah.
But so all we're trying to do here is give you more options, but the linking is still the key. And every time you have a block, you didn't do it. How can you avoid doing that? Get closer to singing.
Right.
When you talk.
Right.
Get a little closer. Pretend you're singing on the stage.
Right.
Pull
Something
it
else.
down, mate, and
Yeah.
push that air hard.
Right. Something I've also been doing now is if I do end up having a block, then I'll go back and I'll try to say it again, but with more singing and like
And it
just
works, doesn't it?
right. And at least that way I'm able to show myself in that moment that I can say it.
Exactly. And that's worth a lot because eventually all your embarrassing stuttering incidents are in your memory bank. And that's what drives more stuttering mistakes. Every time you do what you just said, you're putting in fluency memories and they become a memory bank. And the thing is, you've been stuttering for years, and so you're trying to do in a short period of time build a memory bank to catch up with years of nonsense. So it's a little bit harder and takes a little force and some planning and whatever.
Right.
But when you realize that you can do it, that you're not going to appear speech disabled, you may not be the greatest speaker on the planet yet, but you know that you can get through it without humiliating yourself. When you really realize that, the pressure is going to drop like a rock.
Right.
This whole problem is going to start shrinking.
Yeah. Can I just ask? So one more situation I often face, right? So like, is the situation where it's hard to avoid thinking words only because you know that you're up next, right? So as an example, like if I'll be taking a flight back to India in a few hours, and so during the flight, you'll have the air hostess coming up a few rows ahead of you, asking other people what food or which drink they would like. And I know that I'm up in 5 or 6 minutes. It's hard to avoid thinking of the fact that yes, I know that I want this exact drink, and I start to then plan that word.
But you don't plan the word. You just know which drink you want. You plan thoughts, not words. Brains pick words. You put what do you say to your what? Give me an example of a drink. Give me
So I used to have a lot of trouble on tomato juice, and so I would.
All right. So I know I'm going to order tomato juice now, and what I say to myself is, I'm going to say something else. I don't know what, anything else, before I say tomato juice. You have a lovely smile. I'll have some tomato juice. I think I'll have some tomato juice. May I have some tomato juice? Do you have any tomato juice? I don't know what I'm going to say in front of tomato juice, and I refuse to pick it. What I'm going to do is, I know I'm going to say tomato juice, but I'm going to say something else first, and then I'm going to link it. Well, tomato juice. So tomato juice. And tomato juice. Tomato juice. Tomato juice. But I'm not going to plan what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do something, and I'm going to tack it. I'm going to tack tomato juice onto what I do. It doesn't matter what I do. It's irrelevant.
And you are not going to choose what that prefix is in advance.
No. I'll wait till she gets there.
Yeah.
Glad you asked tomato juice. Look, you're a smart person. Use your imagination, for heaven's sakes. Don't make a decision until it's the moment.
Yeah.
What a lovely smile you have. I think I'll have some tomato juice. Maybe you engage in a little conversation first. Who knows? Ask him sometimes. When am I going to get in? Whatever. What do you have the meals regularly this way, or I mean any kind of small talk? And say, oh yeah. I wanted some tomato juice. What did I say? Oh yeah. I think I'll have some tomato juice.
Right.
Problem. You can babble, matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Don't plan it. Plan thoughts, not words. Don't plan words. You got to stop that.
Yeah. I think that's the last step of this whole journey, and then I'm good to go after that.
Exactly.
Do you have any PWSS who speak as well as you do?
Yes.
Or
I think they do.
I think better.
I don't know. That's really not for me to say. You know.
Because you are arguably like the best speaker I've ever heard.
Oh, that's very kind of you to say. I like, for example, I'll recite the words to my one of my favorite little songs, Counting My Blessings, and I say, when I'm worried and I can't sleep, I count my blessings instead of sheep, and I fall asleep, counting my blessings. When my bankroll is getting small, I think of when I had none at all, and I fall asleep, counting my blessings. I think about a nursery, and I picture curly heads, and one by one I count them as they slumber in their beds. So if you're worried and you can't sleep, just count your blessings instead of sheep, and you'll fall asleep counting your blessings.
Right. And I love how you almost acted that out, right? You were.
Do act, and I want you to act.
Yeah. And honestly, a lot of other speakers also kind of act as they speak. Many of them will move their bodies.
Enjoy yourself. Just jump in the pool, swim.
Right.
Get wet. Don't worry about making mistakes. You're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Everyone will do the same. So, and they understand, and nobody's counting. So you got to be I want you to be an actor. I want you to be over the top. You want to be. Enjoy life. Look, speech is fun. It's great. There's nothing to prevent you from being the best speaker you know.
Right.
Nothing.
Right. Yeah.
Just a little work. It's easier than becoming the best tennis player or the best uh, basketball player or football player. That's for sure.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
nobody really tries to speak well. Almost no one.
Right. Right.
So it's an advantage to stutter because you're learning things about mind management. And in your case, we call our methods the neuroscience method. And we have the US Patent Office let us put an R in a circle after that.
Right.
Neuroscience method, R in a circle. That's ours.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's very accurate. I mean, you are a neuroscientist, Lee.
I'm trying my best, in a simple way. I keep it simple, but yes, I do want to do that. And I believe in repetition.
Yeah.
I love to speak. And if the waitress is coming, or the stewardess is coming, if you simply sat there and were thinking, I love to talk to stewardesses. This stewardess is so cute, or she seems so nice, or I love to talk to these people. It's so much fun. Go into your soft voice, go into your whisper even. Well, I think I'll have some advantages. Make a game of this. And don't worry about the words. Worry about your emotions, your passion, and your smile, and all those things. Worry about that. Worry about being pleasant. Be agreeable. Be the nicest person on the plane in her view.
Yeah.
Why not? Doesn't cost you anything.
Right. Yeah. Should you also actually plan the crutch in advance? Or should you also randomly and in a non like it almost seems like if you can just choose the crutch last minute as well, that's also good.
Yeah, you can do that too. Um, Practicing when you're under, I think you're having enough situations that you really should be focused on a speech plan a good bit of the time. And you got to experiment. This is the pressure one and the general one that I've suggested. But you've got to play with it a little bit and determine which one is most helpful.
Right.
It may be that you're better off sticking with the pressure plan until you've got this linking thing down cold. I don't know. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm having more fun with it now. I'm actually really enjoying just being expressive and singing, and I think linking is
Good.
just naturally happening.
Well, good. Listen, the irony is, if you're good enough at any one of those things, you have no problem.
Right.
It's all about letting go and letting your brain do its job. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Letting
Yeah.
go. And then speaking well, okay, don't speak fast. Pronounce your words. Be passionate in what you say. Smile. Have stops. Give people a chance to think.
Right.
Remember what you said. You know, that's what making good speech. But, you know, your best speech plan may simply be a blend of singing and passion and smiling, and it's kind of you've mixed them all together in a bowl.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, what's definitely worked best is linking and making sure to almost change the linking into singing if I feel a block. And that's been working extremely well.
I love that. That's an answer. And that'll absolutely work, because if you went into singing, you could sing your way for the rest of your life and not stutter.
Yeah. Yeah. And I honestly don't even have to sing that often. It's really only in the rare cases where
Right.
it's a
And if you
specific.
sing a little bit, and even if it gets a little bit out of whack or a little bit extreme, laugh at yourself.
Yeah, and it makes you more interesting and more memorable.
Exactly. Let's say this guy is a piece of work.
Yeah.
Be one. Be an eccentric a little bit. Well,
Yeah.
so what?
Yeah.
You know what? When I was a singer when I was a kid, and at one point I had some singing lessons, and the guy said, "Lee, if you want to be any good, you got to be an extreme example of yourself,
Right.
and
Right.
be a bit of an eccentric a little bit. It'll make you stand out more, and it'll help you with your speech, because when you're stuttering is all about holding back and analyzing what you're going to say before you say it. When you're focused on how you're going to say it and how you can be over the top and how you can sing it a little bit, so what?
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I'm sure you have to go. I don't want to hold you longer,
Yeah.
but this has been extremely helpful, and I'll send you email updates. I really like this a lot, so thank you so much, Lee.
Okay, well, it's my pleasure, and my victory, your victory is my victory, but I am hoping that we'll find a way together to penetrate the academic world a bit
Yes.
with our methods, because there are 80 million people out there who need it. You want to help, you want to be medically helpful to the world. I know you do.
Yeah.
Start with our 80 million.
Yes. No, I'm excited to work with your team to start some sort of research study and start to really shift the whole narrative around this.
And we want you in this program speaking as well or better than I do everywhere, all the time, and loving it.
Right. Right.
You want to be a walking example, exemplar, prototype, archetype of what we're trying to do here. So we're not going to settle partial victory here, or I'd stop half my stuttering. No, no, no.
Right.
It's going to be loving to speak with no stuttering.
Okay.
Period.
Sounds like a
All
plan.
right. I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care.